Kaminar joined the Federation. The Keeley got sick on Erna, and Discovery reveals the USS Nog Eisenberg class. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello, hello.
Today, we are joined by two very special guests, associate producer and Marie Segal.
Yay!
You didn't say anything. And the expert on everything Ferengi, everything Nog, everything Aron Eisenberg. It is technically a Nog episode. Please welcome Malissa Longo.
Hello.
My name is Ryan T. Husk. Today we are reviewing Discovery Season 3, Episode 5, Die Trying, directed by Maya Vervillo. How you guys doing?
Right.
Doing good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How are you?
Die Trying.
How are you doing?
Just fine. So, boy, that was fun, huh? Melissa, you got a pretty good shot of it. Mine's like behind me. I was afraid that it needed to be kind of more.
Oh, you're like the
Center.
woman they put on a maritime ship at the front.
Yeah.
Good.
So where did we see this image? 'Cause we were talking about it a little bit before we got started, and I tried to rewind it a few times to catch it, but I don't know if either my
Would you
screen
like
is
the timestamp?
not the timestamp,
It's
but I
5:20 to 5:26.
It was immediately
okay.
after, it's the ship immediately after the Voyager J class. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, and the Voyager J. I mean, it's a Intrepid class. I think Voyager is.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
11th generation.
Oh, that's so fun that we have Anne-Marie here today, because I was just about to say, well, everybody in the comments, let us know if it's Intrepid. I forgot we've got a Voyager expert right here, Anne-Marie.
Don't know about expert.
Right.
Don't know about
Yes.
expert, but they do have some good stories to tell, probably.
Oh, before we get into any of these stories, there's so much to talk about today, like a lot. We have the Aron Eisenberg class USS Nog. We have the cool episode in general. We have really cool biological stuff that'll, be fun to discuss.
That is
maybe.
awesome.
But here is a biological thing I do want to mention very quick. A shout out to our good friend from the blue skies of Montana, Mr. Bill Erickson, also known as War Dog Heim on YouTube. That's his handle. Big shout out to him, because he has, for the month of November, he has a MoSpace account, like MySpace, but for Movember. I just wanted to give a quick quote what's on his site. Globally, more than 1.4 million men are diagnosed with prostate cancer. Each year, Movember is working to have the number of deaths from prostate cancer by 2030. To have the number of deaths cut in half. And I want to help them get there. Help me stop men dying too young. My personal motivation is that men don't talk about this kind of thing without prompting. I'd like to start conversations, and this is a great reason to reach out. And his goals are men's health, prostate cancer, testicular cancer, mental health, and suicide prevention. So thank you very much, Bill Erickson, for doing that. Guys, in the description box below, we will include the link to please support Bill, help him to take care of this big situation that we have.
And we'll be checking on his mustache at the roundtable this month.
That's right. His mustache. All right. Cool. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. Check it out in the description box below. Melissa, how did you feel when you see the USS Nog? Was it jubilation? Was it like a breath of fresh air? Was it like, man, that's so cool?
It was a little overwhelming after I found it. It was mixed emotion. I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then I'm like, oh, Aron. So there's a lot going on when I saw it, but nobody deserves it more than Aron Nog. He was a trailblazer, so it makes sense that he would have his own ship.
It's true. First Ferengi out there, skyrocketed through the ranks.
Yep.
And Aron always wanted to be on Discovery.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So added bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Cirroc? Any thoughts on Aron Eisenberg finally make it into Discovery and having an entire class named after him?
Well, when he passed away, there were a lot of people doing things to make tribute to his legacy and honor his memory. And from being in video games to all the chat rooms across the country that were making notice of his contribution. So I think this is a really good gesture on behalf of Star Trek and the CBS, family. I think it's a great gesture by honoring him, by incorporating him in the new incarnations of the show, so that his memory continues to be reverberating throughout the legacy of Star Trek. And I think this is a very, very compassionate way for them to show that they care about him, and that they honor him, who he was as a person. So I'm excited about it. I think that if Star Trek continues to, embrace its family and embrace people like Aron, who are such good role models outside of being a good actor, I think that if they continue to do that, then we're going to have a community of people that understand that we reward people who have inspired us, who have loved the fans, and who have done nothing but represent Star Trek with integrity and honor.
And who tried his best to live the principles of what the Federation stood for, whether he was consciously or not. He was an excellent representation of those values. So, yeah.
And Marie, that must be your cat.
So allergic. If it was
My
my cat, I'd be in the ER.
Yeah.
It's Mochi.
Yeah, Anne Marie's allergic to cats, so that was how we guessed that it wasn't her cat. Another thing I was just thinking is that Aron would have been the guy that was the most excited to see a tribute like this about somebody else.
Yeah.
He would say, "That's so cool. Oh man." That he would get, he'd be so passionate and excited about this kind of tribute for somebody. So I think it's only fitting that he get that kind of, tribute and moment. That's really cool. We say it every single week, so I hate beating it to death, but it's just, I just wish Aron could see it, like it's one of those things where I'm like, God, he would love this more than anybody.
Yeah.
About anybody.
Yeah. And he'd be in tears.
Yeah. And not only that, but, one of the things they talked about in the documentary was how his character had the biggest growth, and we saw the evolution of his character go from from such a small place to such a large and very important role. And I think this is just a continuation of that arc. This is just to let us know, not only did he continue to, his impact resonated to the point where here in Discovery, we're still celebrating, who he was and his legacy. So I think that it just continues the arc of this character who, went from such a small part to being such an important factor in the show. So I think that's another.
That's very true.
It's just another testament to how his memory keeps on reminding us of the great person he was.
Right. What does Mochi have to say about that? She has a lot to say right now.
She really does.
She's very eager to
really
discuss.
Angry that they're not letting her in here.
Well, that's really cool. So our heartfelt
And
thanks.
it happens to be Max Grudenchik's birthday today.
Yeah.
Which
Really?
I love that it lined up.
Birthday.
And Wallace Shawn, but especially
It's a Ferengi Thursday. This is it.
Ferengi Day. Yes.
November 12th is Ferengi Day.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
The House
Two Grand Neguses in a row.
Yes.
And the unveiling of the USS Nog all in one day. November 12th is Ferengi Day. Yeah. All right. So thank you very much
It's
to
actually,
Star Trek Discovery for that.
We can name it the Federation Veterans Day, because it's the day after Veterans Day.
The Veterans Day.
Veterans Day.
Okay. All right.
Whatever. Well, let's talk about this episode as well. Classy move by Discovery. So if somebody is lacking in class, we'll be like, dude, get some Eisenberg class, dude. Come on.
Yeah. I think that's appropriate.
So from that to prions, what are those things?
Prion diseases. Oh my god.
Yeah,
they're so
prion
cool.
diseases. So the Keeley
They're the coolest.
they got some kind of disease in Erna, of course, everybody knows. And they started talking about some biological and medical things that we obviously don't know too much about. But luckily, we have a doctor on hand here, Dr. Marie Segal. Also, shout out to another associate producer who's also a doctor, Susan V. Gruner. But Anne-Marie, what are prion diseases?
Oh my gosh, they're amazing. Well, they're amazing.
They sound amazing. I can't wait.
Well, so little is known about them. So basically, they're proteins, and a lot of times you get them by like eating something that already has them, and then instead of like DNA or RNA that then code into cells and make their own proteins, this protein sort of like gloms onto like your current proteins and ends up making like aggregates of basically dead tissue called amyloids, usually in your brain. So examples of that are like mad cow disease in cows, and then Creutzfeldt-Jakob syndrome in people. But my favorite, that's like always a footnote and really
You have favorites?
Textbooks. Yes, it's called Kuru disease, Kuru, and that basically happens in Papua New Guinea in a cannibalistic tribe where they eat the brains of other people, and then that's how it's transmitted. But like very little is known, and major shout out to Dr. Mohammed Noor, who wrote this amazing book, Live Long and Evolve, which of course I have tabbed. But he's also the new biology consultant for Star Trek, and you definitely can tell because there's this really elegant, sophisticated plot line where they've set it up to get mutations in plants because of the heavy metals like getting through the atmosphere. And there have been some plant-like proteins that sort of act like exhibit some prion-like behaviors. So he applied that to like humanoids, and that's causing the prion disease. So then we have to go find the plant to trace it back. And my guess is that like a transporter can't filter it out because it's not like an RNA or DNA virus. It's just a protein that like then goes, it's very similar to your own proteins. So my guess is because it's in cells and it's so similar, you can't take it out.
In cells. The only thing I understood there was heavy metals. Anybody else?
Cannibals? That's like the fascinating part.
Heavy metal.
I never heard that.
And at med school in Wisconsin, it came up a lot because like there were concerns that it was in deer, and Wisconsin's like a big deer game hunting state.
Yeah, the Milwaukee Bucks. Shout out to them, and yeah, shout out to Dr. Mohammed Noor and his book.
Live Long and Evolve.
You've read it all, huh? You know it all.
Yeah, and it's also cool because in addition to like the main index, there's an index for episode titles. So I kind of use it like as a companion book now while we're watching.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
Super fun.
Oh my gosh.
So I guess the only person I could ask is you then, Dr. Anne-Marie. Is there a cure for this kind of thing, or is it?
No, that's one of the reasons it's so interesting because like it can be years until it starts developing symptoms, and it's really hard to target like a protein that's actually like your protein. Like unlike a virus where you could target like the viral RNA or DNA, you can't target like a protein that's so like similar to ours and aggregates in cells. And the other interesting thing is because it's in the brain, it's sort of like it has a lot of symptoms with like coordination. So I really liked that when they were showing like those aliens, I can't remember their names, who were in like the ICU. They were sort of like having all these like movements.
For those of you Lord
like
of the Rings fans, you know who Keeley is.
Well, it could be like a seizure, or probably they were having like minor seizures because of their heart rates and blood pressures. going up. It just like all matched really well. I was super impressed.
Nice.
And that would be assuming that their proteins are similar to.
Yeah, or maybe like somehow the protein mutates to like match each alien because it also attacks the Barjan. Like who knows if it would work on people or whatever. But super interesting. Loved it.
You know what else was super interesting?
Oh, and one time Bashir mentioned prions before, and I believe it was in the Cirroc episode about Nor the Battle.
Nor the Strong?
Yeah.
Nice.
I think it was his boring paper, but actually it's super interesting.
We'll look forward to that.
Yeah. I have to double check, but I'm pretty sure that's where I heard it.
So the Orion and the Andorians have formed together to be the Emerald Chain. It's a syndicate. And that's the kind of nerdy stuff that I love, is like the different races and who's got like diplomacy and alliances between the others. And now we know why in like the first episode, Michael Burnham had to deal with some Orions and some Andorians because they've created this syndicate called the Emerald Chain. What do you guys think about that cool stuff that we like so much?
Is that because blue and green make emerald? And Andorians are classing it up?
Maybe. Emerald is more of a greenish color.
I know, but usually I figured like
a mix of both.
Yeah.
Blue and green to get like that emerald green. Maybe.
Yeah, I wanted to know more about that name.
They did mention something about the changing of alliances, and I think that they said that the Federation had gone down to like 38 world members.
That's cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, we definitely see a different Federation now. Watching this episode and kind of seeing how, it's kind of weird because they seem to be way more advanced, but then some things the Discovery crew is like, oh, we know way more about this than you do. And it's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's usually my biggest qualm with all time travel episodes on every show, is that there always seems to be a way that even though your crew time travels 1,000 years in the future, you're still saving the day. Whereas we know that if a crew from 1,000 years ago showed up on their boat or whatever, we'd be like, we got this, dude. We'll be fine. They'll be like, no, but we're excellent sailors. We can go. We got this. Our technology is unbelievable. You'll never guess the things that we can do. We got this. And they'll be like, but our boat, the sails are very fast. We'll be fine.
Yeah,
well, just look at your nuclear reactor. Maybe we'll come up with a solution.
But my only response to that is that all of the people currently who have lived in the Federation for as long as they have been looking at this problem the same way. But you have these new people coming in, and they can look at it from a fresh perspective and offer a different view of how to solve the problem than the current people do. So that's my response to that.
Well, they also did do okay with it. They're basically saying it has to do with the spore drive. They're like, hey, the only thing that can get there that fast is the spore drive. We're the ones that can use it. Sorry, you need us. And that works, but the only thing I would say with the technology is that 1,000 years in the future, the Federation probably has technology that can go faster than that. But again, they had the burn that kind of flattened everything out. What were you saying, Anne-Marie?
Oh, I was really concerned in the beginning that it was going to be a super like relic style episode, the one where Scotty like comes out of the transporter in TNG, and then he feels really bad because in 80 years like technology's changed, or however many years he was in there. So in the beginning of the episode, I was like, is this going to be like relics on steroids? And then turns out no, because they like know a lot of people and they have spore drive. But yeah, otherwise I totally agree.
Yeah, and I have a question about the spore drive. I just feel like that it would be the most critical thing to reproduce for Starfleet right now, because they need to be able to travel. And I would think that would be the first thing on their list. Is like, we need to recreate the spore drive. We need to reverse engineer the technology and find a way to make it work for ourselves.
Right, but they got rid of all the records of the spore drive. So as far as they know, it never existed. That's the tough part, but that's how it goes, is that supposedly that is gone forever and Discovery is the only one that has it or ever will have it.
Yeah, but now they know. So
yeah, but now it's in the future. So
then are they going to try and ban it again? Because wasn't it like bad to the tardigrades and that's why they were covering it up?
Or they might reverse engineer it super quickly because they've got awesome technology. And they're like, dude, we got tons of mushrooms. We didn't know what to do with them. And now we do.
Yeah. Or I guess maybe then they could come up with a solution in addition to save like the spores and the tardigrades so that there wouldn't be a similar thing.
Yeah, and the other thing that is interesting about the spore drive is when they actually go into the moment and the ship does the little spin around move and then drops into invisibleness. I think about like how practical is that methodology when you're in a fighting scene, when you're like, you got two ships chasing you and you're fighting each other, and then you do this little twirl around and dip, and so you wouldn't be able to travel. Can you control the speed at which you go, so you don't have to go into that mode exactly and kind of cruise along and fight?
Well, and I was wondering, for the spore drive, why didn't they install seatbelts? Because
seatbelts is a whole thing in Star Trek. We could do an entire episode on seatbelts in Star Trek.
If they're spinning around, my only guess is that it's like a washing machine.
They figure they're fine as long as they keep all hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the ship at all times. That's a Disneyland reference.
I thought you were about to say something serious, Ryan. Oh man, I was really listening.
Have you met me?
Oh man.
Speaking of meeting people, we met an old dude. I don't know what his name was, but there was an old guy. He was talking with Georgiou, and apparently he said something that really affected her, that they kind of gave a little cliffhanger there, something that really affected her. But I want to talk about this old dude. He was played by David Cronenberg, who many of you know. He is an actor, but especially a director. He directed Crash. Probably the most famous one in my mind that he directed was The Fly with Jeff Goldblum, which is pretty cool. Yeah. He also had one of his first acting jobs in The Fly. I looked that up, and he cast himself as the gynecologist.
Because IMDb calls him the king of venereal horror. And I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I didn't even know
explanation.
That. Now it makes sense.
So apparently now that's it.
Cirroc, your thoughts?
No comment. That's my
no comment from me. It's a no from me.
Oh my gosh!
I guess we can move on from him then.
Well, first of all, I want to check and make sure you guys aren't holograms.
Oh, okay.
And I love that it's sort of like, are you a changeling? Are you a changeling? It felt like very much like Magnificent Ferengi. But
okay.
I really liked how like when you like see Georgiou in the beginning of the episode and all other episodes, she's always like so powerful and looks so badass, and her makeup's all perfect. And like she even looks cool in the beginning of that scene with like that ridiculous blue sparkly eyeliner. But then like costume and makeup was so amazing because like towards the end of the episode, after she learned that like horrible stuff about what happened in the mirror universe, she just like looks ridiculous in it, like the way the lighting and everything, and it just makes her look so vulnerable. I thought it was like, and suddenly like her amazing sexy outfit look a little ridiculous, her makeup looks like a little bit clownish. I just thought it was so good the way they did it.
Okay, I gotta fact check that scene with the blinking. This one I can turn away, to enjoy a good TV show. But the fact check is Georgiou blinks, right?
I thought she was a genie.
Yeah, she's blinking to disable the holograms, and her explanation is that if she blinks at their harmonic rate, it it breaks the holograms,
Totally
right?
buy it. Totally
Okay.
buy it.
My question is, how can she, a person, a human, measure a machine's harmonic rate? She's not a cyborg. She's not a computer. She didn't
I will tell
tap
you.
them and listen. Ooh.
Yep.
And then how does she have such incredible control of her eyes to know exactly the speed at which you need to go to do no. I can buy a mushroom drive, but I cannot buy that a human can measure a harmonic rate and duplicate it in their blinking. No, it's just no. Give it a try. Go ahead and try.
It does have that retinal difference that the alternate universe has, like Lorca had.
Exactly.
Which is why bright lights affected him so much. So there's something in there.
That's not a measurement of time,
no, but
though.
also she started messing with them with words. She was totally kirking it up, as Sabrina Wood from Sci-Fi Sisters calls it in the live chat. And kirking it up means doing anything like Kirk, but in this case, it's like trying to mess with a computer. So she starts like mixing words up to throw them off. And my guess is she's like calculating like how long it takes them to respond, and then she turns that into her eye batting. Like when she said like the duology of biology, or like something about like dual biology, and then she's like bioduology. Like it was super quirky.
It was kind of a Blade Runner type thing when they're trying to test whether you're an android or not.
Yeah. Replicant.
Replicant. That's the word. About it. Replicant.
Okay, bring us our next challenge, Ryan.
But I thought
I'm like, sorry, that's sorry. That was a nice try, but
no.
There is no. Sorry.
Not
that was great. That both great points you guys both brought up, but no. Anyway, but that's okay. It's okay to have one or two things that I go, because the rest is cool.
Disagree to disagree.
You think that people can really? You don't disagree with me. There's no way you disagree with this. Sorry.
Yeah, but I just like love I Dream of Jeannie, and it was super that.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was.
It was. The foot stamp too.
Yeah, it was awesome.
There's a foot stamp.
You guys do the nose twitch?
That's Bewitched, Ryan.
I thought it was. I thought it was more Nicki Minaj than I Dream of Jeannie.
Oh.
Nicki Minaj does that. Like.
Oh, that's cool.
She does a lot of that.
Jeannie does it like if she's undercover in real life and she doesn't want people to see the whole like thing.
Melissa almost looked like a bobblehead when she did it just now. It's pretty good.
But I thought Georgiou was good in that scene. I actually enjoyed her a lot. She looks better when she has something to do, and they finally gave her something to do in this episode. And she was good in playing opposite the director that you just mentioned from Crash and The Fly. So I thought the two of them really had a good chemistry together. It was like who was trying to outsmart the other. And he started to play little psychological games with her by pushing her buttons of vulnerability. And that really started to get to her psyche too.
Yeah.
And all the other interviews were adorable.
And it was nice writing too when he says, "Look, why don't you ask questions and I'll glean more information from the questions you ask than the bullshit that you won't answer." Right. Smart.
Yeah, that was good writing. I like that as well. Him saying that, because that's sometimes is the case. You get more from people, from asking questions or from them not answering questions when they, avoid answering questions. That lets you know more about it than even the answer could know. So I thought it was pretty good. Why was she so trusting though? Because like she just took his word for it. I kind of felt like maybe he's just messing with her about telling her that the mirror universe is so far off. Like I was like, for all she knows, he's just playing like psychological games during an interrogation. So it was like I didn't really buy actually that she would just believe it on face value.
Well, I think at this point, why does he need to lie about it?
Yeah, it just seemed like he knew like way too much about it.
So who is he though, exactly? What would be his rank? Would he be the constable?
Ooh.
You
I don't know.
First century mirror universes. It's like that guy on TNG who's like an expert in like 1940s film noir, and for some reason like goes to holodecks with Picard. Super niche.
I don't remember that guy.
When he gets killed in the holodeck, or almost killed. And good night, long kiss goodbye.
Okay. Well, there's another big elephant in the room that we're going to have to discuss. There's so many elephants in this room. It feels like a GOP meeting. Am I right? Hey, no. No. One of my favorite characters has gone forever.
Oh.
Nhan.
Forever.
I was non-impressed.
Yeah.
You know that Will
that was not funny.
Yeah,
Will
you're
Wheaton
non-impressed by that.
Will
that
Wheaton
was
already did
not funny.
at Ready Room when he interviewed her.
Okay.
That what?
Will Wheaton already did a non-something pun when he interviewed Rachel. I can't remember her last name.
And Sherrill, I think.
Yeah, at the Ready Room
I'm just
today.
guessing.
It was amazing.
I love Nhan, by the way. It's so delicious.
So good.
Also, her mom was one of the original letter writers to save Star Trek in the 1960s, like with B. Joe Trimble.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
Yes. Oh, also big shout out to Don Crandall. He was the first person to bring that to my attention that the old guy was David Cronenberg and he was in The Fly. I want to forget to mention that. So Nhan, unless she was in the interview saying that she's going to come back, I'm presuming that she's gone forever, right?
Well, CBS All Access hearted my comment when I said, make sure you bring her back. So, and they hearted some other people's comments who said more things.
Well, Rachel Ancheril actually runs their social media. So.
Oh, it was actually her.
But she kind of hinted that it wouldn't be the last time that they would see her.
I kind of didn't understand that scene, if you want to know, guys, what I was thinking, because they go in there, the guy has all the seeds, his family dies, he's alone, they want to leave him. They say, I don't know, he wants to be left, and they want to take him against his will. But they decide, I don't know, they decided something, but it was weird. Where were they leaving her? And to do what exactly?
Yeah.
To be with that guy?
Give the ship oversight to somebody else who's more stable. It was so weird.
Yeah, or if they were taking him back, I think because he was injured and they needed to heal him up, right? So why not heal him up and then bring him back?
Well, no. Also, they were questioning his mental health, not unrightly. Like he's been through a big traumatic event. But I was just like, why? Plus, the Barzan atmosphere makes things grow faster. So give the ship duty to somebody else and then help them. Weird.
Yeah, it sounded like it was just time to move on from Lieutenant Nhan, and this was their way to do it, sadly.
Who was hearing the music? What I didn't get on the ship was I couldn't tell who was seeing what. And then when Michael Burnham was mentioning the music, I was like, wait, then who's hearing the music? Who's not? Who's seeing things? Who isn't? It was a little confusing. I guess maybe it was a hologram. It
was a hologram.
That just plays for
the dad, because his family is dead.
But then he as an out-phased guy was in another room, so it was he wasn't in both places, right?
Well, no, but I think he kept it running because it just made them feel like they were still there. I know, it's really sad.
Or is he a dowd like Kevin Uxbridge, and that's what's going on with the music playing in people's minds all the time from TNG.
So she needed to stay on the ship to take care of those seeds or something? Is that what's going on? Is that what I missed?
Yeah.
He's the new Keiko.
Right. Very good. Very good knowledge.
Yeah.
So what it is that she's going to fly the seed ship back to Barzan or wherever she needs to take it. She's taking over his mission for him to bring the bodies back and the seeds back.
Oh, that's right.
And then she's also secondarily happy that she's going to be able to see her home planet again. Because apparently, unbeknownst to us, we thought she was just a security officer, but she's actually a security officer that misses her home very, very much and was just waiting for any moment. As soon as there's an opportunity to go back home, she's like, sorry guys, I'm out. I'm not really interested
also
in
at that point, they had been told that like their ship might get like diaspora'd. So rather that maybe than like have to go some random place by yourself.
Maybe Ariam is waiting for her on Barzan.
I knew it was going to be bad when like Nhan was in the preview too much, like that Ariam episode.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really so. I mean, I know you like Nhan a lot, Lieutenant Nhan. I wasn't like super attached to her.
Yeah,
Well,
then I saw
she
this
was
Ready
super
Room
attached to you,
preview, and now I
Cirroc.
love her.
I don't know. And I really liked, I mean, they keep getting rid of my favorite characters. Like I really liked Commander Landry at the beginning and Culber, and they killed him, but they brought him back. Saru, so, you know.
But he's cool with his murder now, so it's okay.
Yeah.
that was funny. That was funny.
Yeah, there were a few
Who's
things
your
in
new
there
favorite?
about the.
Well, I guess right now it's still just Culber and Saru, because Nhan was in my top 3, I think. Nhan, Culber, and Saru. I like Lieutenant Nilsson. I think that was a character they were never planning on having. I think she's just the character that they created to be able to use that actress that played Ariam originally, Sarah Middich. And so I think they just kind of created that, and that's kind of the freedom of having a new character just kind of created. Like when you're writing, I've done this before. When I'm writing something, I have this core group of characters. Sometimes my favorite character ends up being a character that I just came up with to fit a plot point or something, and then that one just kind of grows more and more and more, and kind of takes over, and you end up liking that one more than a lot of others. And I can see some of that growth starting with her. You know, she is theoretically third in charge, because when Michael and Saru are gone, she's sitting in the captain's chair, just like Ariam did before her. And I think it was.
You mean Nelson?
Yeah.
Talking about Nelson?
Yeah.
I thought somebody else was given in charge too at one point.
Yeah,
Right. I think it
Bryce.
was Reese, or was it Bryce?
Actually, now I'm
Right.
not sure because I was getting confused. I thought it was Bryce.
Okay.
I don't know. I just heard it. I wasn't looking at the screen.
Right.
Names.
Yeah.
I actually know them from reading Ryan's Discovery fan fiction because he loves Bryce and Reese.
I know. I wrote that, and I still got them mixed up just now.
Yeah,
That's
I
like the only reason
forgot
I
who
know
it
their
was.
names.
But I know that another person was given the cons. So I paid attention to it because actually when you mentioned that last time, Ryan, you said you always pay attention to who's left in control when the first officers are gone. And so then I start to pay attention too. And now every time they leave and they see you're in charge, I kind of make note of that.
It's interesting. It gives us a little insight as to how the hierarchy goes, or at least the bridge hierarchy, because there are other officers that are, you know, higher ranking, but they're not necessarily in command or, you know, bridge officers.
Yeah.
What did you think of Charles Vance, who I call Charles Vance Refrigeration, like in The Office for Bob Vance? But I like am really not into him. So, he's the one who's like in charge of.
Yeah, he's the admiral. He's in charge of Starfleet.
Yeah.
He-
Commander in chief.
That like scary guy. He was in The Mummy.
I have
Right.
a little rub about the new Starfleet. And I get that they're on guard because of the whole burn thing, and they're in, you know, there's a threat to the Federation and what have you. But they were really hard on Discovery, I feel like.
keeping
And
like
unusually hard.
Yeah.
And you would think that, you know, the uniforms, for one thing, it would not have been erased from the past. So, you know, these people are coming to infiltrate you in old Star Trek uniforms.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a Federation.
Like, that is so a
New
no like
an old ship and-
2020.
I don't know. I was just like, there's so much more evidence to show that they are saying who they say they are than not. It's not like
So weird.
So you guys touched on also the actor that plays him. His name is Oded Fair, I believe. And he's Israeli, an Israeli actor. Shout out to a friend of mine, Oded Mazor, who's probably not watching this, but he's also Israeli. So I guess the dude was Israeli based on the name. But yeah, he was in The Mummy. He was also in Resident Evil. That's another Don Crandall special that he messaged me real quick. Mm-hmm. He's quick on the draw, that guy.
Oh, well, I have to give a shout out to Annabelle Wallace, who's the Zorro computer, because she's one of the stars of Peaky Blinders for the first few seasons, which has won like a million BAFTAs and like Irish TV show awards and stuff. It's amazing, but there's some like really prestige actors on the show. Ronnie from Schitt's Creek last week was like the head of Trill.
Watch your mouth, Anne Marie. Come on.
Yeah. Like they're getting some big people.
Here? I like the actor that played Charles Vance, this Oded guy. I've seen him in the movies that you mentioned and other films as well. I think he's a really good actor. He's actually a big movie actor, so him doing television is kind of almost, a step down, quote unquote, for him. But I thought he's really good at the role because I always like people that make me hate them.
Yeah.
And so if you make me hate you in a movie, if I'm watching a movie and I walk away and I hate you because of what you've done, that means you've done your job in that role.
Is that why we get along so well, Cirroc?
Exactly.
But also, like, even more fun because it's Star Trek, so they'll make us love him unless he does something horrible. They'll either make us love him or make us like really hate him, and I can't wait for that journey.
Yeah, but I think of Kai, Kai Wynn, and those kinds of characters that are just like really good at making you hate them. I'm sorry, Melissa.
No, I do like that he kind of softened at the end. The acting was phenomenal, but I think the tone of the approach of the writing was a little too one note and high, like
especially that uniform that looks like a little more militaristic that he's wearing.
Well, I think
like a little even better.
How about like Nazi?
Yeah.
Well, I think they're trying to do that on purpose. I think they're saying, hey, the Federation has become, kind of like Earth. Remember, Earth was very defensive.
It was one thing with like the Earth bondage, but that like weird collar that like looks so like.
Yeah.
So they're all being, the Federation is being a lot more, maybe isolationist, maybe a lot safer about things rather than going out and exploring. They're just kind of trying to defend themselves because they're losing a lot of races. A lot of these races are leaving and teaming up with other races. And so, yeah, I think that's deliberate. I think they're kind of creating that kind of situation on purpose. Yeah,
I get that, but there's overkill. I mean, there'd have to be some semblance of the old Federation just somewhere. I mean, if there wasn't, what was the purpose of the guy in the first episode? He definitely had that hope.
Right, the guy holding the flag.
Yeah, so the entire hope of the Federation is obliterated. I mean, I don't buy that. Hope dies last.
It's interesting though that you say that the guy was kind of Nazi-ish, being that he's Israeli. So there's maybe something poetic there.
I said that the uniforms were
right.
Yeah, it's like a skit that's like. Yeah.
I'll tell you what I liked about that actor though was that, and I'd never seen him before. I don't think I've seen The Mummy or Resident Evil or any of those.
That was where I had my first date when I was 14.
Good to know.
Yeah, he's great. He's great as the villain in The Mummy, by the way.
Really? See, I just thought that he was a very interesting actor, that he delivered things in a way, as actors, when we were watching other actors, for me, my favorite thing is when an actor delivers something in a way I would have not expected or guessed or done myself. And then I kind of question myself. I'm like, oh, shoot, maybe that is a better way to deliver that line. That's pretty interesting. And it seemed like he delivered every line in a way that I wasn't necessarily expecting.
Yeah, he's a very interesting actor to watch, definitely.
He is a very interesting actor. Yeah, and he challenged Burnham in a lot of ways, where she is usually the person that's the voice of authority, or really kind of putting her impression on things. He was able to really kind of shut her down in many instances in this, and kind of make her look like, no, you're not in charge here. I'm the person that's in charge. I run the show. But I have to agree with you, Melissa, that I don't think it's logical for somebody to believe that if somebody were to come out of the past 1,000 years ago into our present day, we would both have curiosity. The people in the present would be like curious to know what the hell was your time like, and what did tell me all about what you've been doing, and vice versa. So I didn't see that exchange of curiosity. Like, I need to know. Tell me what was this like? What was it like before the burn? What was it like this? What was it like? Just exchanging those kinds of stories.
Yeah, it felt like one-sided curiosity
Yeah.
at this point.
Well, it made those moments where like different races realized their homeworlds had become like Federation members really poignant. But yeah, it was so weird. You'd think they'd be like, "Oh, what'd you do for this?" Like, really bizarre.
We only have a couple minutes left here, guys.
Like,
but
the
yes,
first part of the episode, when Saru is like #1, and he kind of says it like in a Picard way, I was like, "Wait, but how would he know about this?" So
Ryan.
No, I wrote that down too. I thought that was an interesting the way he said #1 to Michael Burnham. I said, "Whoa, where did he get that from?"
Yeah, it sounded like a Ryan impression, but not quite as good.
I wanted to add that I for one, I thought the set kind of looked like an iPhone store when they walked into the.
Totally.
It was like really bright and white and circular, and I was like, "Well, this is like the new iPhone store. Apple's going to get a hold of this." But the thing that I really enjoyed the most about this episode was the line that they said, "Dysfunction." It was about dysfunction. It was like dysfunction.
I think it was dat function.
No, it was. Geez, I got it here in my Reno,
yeah.
Reno. She's like, duh, and then she says, "Dysfunction is the team," right? And what I just want to comment on is when they each were going through their interrogation sections where they were being interrogated about what happened and see if their stories matched up. As they were retelling the stories of what we've seen already happen, you could see how ridiculous it sounded to somebody on the outside.
Yeah, that was
right?
amazing.
And that's what I liked about this episode, because they are a dysfunctional family type of crew, and that shows up most when you contrast it to protocol, and this is by the books, and this is how we do things, and then you watch them talk about having arguments, and Tilly was really funny in this episode, and Stamets and
Jet
and Jet also were really funny in their kind of interrogation.
It felt like so Deep Space Nine, that like little montage. I loved it.
Yeah, that did have a DS9 feel to it. Yes.
The pull out of the last shot with Saru and Burnham was like, oh my gosh, this is the last shot of what we left behind with Jake and Kira, because they were pulling out of the window, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's Deep Space Nine. It's so Deep Space.
Oh, and we have to mention Voyager, of course. Speaking of which, Voyager J, the 11th.
Some good stories about those ships.
Yes. They do like to gossip too, those Voyager ships.
Yeah.
That's Voyager J, so that's the 11th Voyager. That's pretty cool. Also, another little
shout out, like where they were all watching it. It was sort of like the Star Trek movies where it goes on really long, where people were watching ships dock and stuff, and then Lower Decks spoofed it. So I loved that it showed up again for like seriously here.
I also really quickly want to say that I expected to see more radical designs in the ship changing over the 1,000 years. So I did kind of expect to see ships that didn't look traditionally Enterprise, maybe some kind of little adjustments here and there. But
right, 1,000 years later, and it looks like
the VFX guy was talking about that today. I think his name is AZ or Jay-Z. On the Ready Room, the second interview, it was Jay-Z. And sorry, I can't remember, but like he was saying how he really applied that to book ship because it like can change formations, but like not as much these.
Do you know what AZ's middle name is?
No.
Shade of Winter.
I love your middle name jokes.
Shade of Winter.
Yeah, that's
that's a Simon and Garfunkel song covered by the Bangles, of course. He's a Shade of Winter. Melissa got it. She was doing this move. Also, there was the old dude's birthday was April 5th, which we know is First Contact Day, and they did mention 2063.
Pierogi Day.
I think is the year. Oh yeah, Salmon Day or something they say.
Pierogi.
Pierogi.
That's Zephyrin Cochrane's favorite food, so that's how Voyager celebrates.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in Lower Decks though they talked about salmon. They said, or maybe they mentioned how they have salmon on that day, or maybe it was Star Trek Day, but I'm pretty sure it was on First Contact Day. They're like, you got to have salmon on First Contact Day.
Check that out.
Yeah, you'll have to watch Lower Decks. It's pretty good.
I had a small laugh to myself just to throw Aron Eisenberg into this one. There was a moment when they were talking about the Red Angel suit, and they said, yes, there was only one time crystal left. And I just started laughing, and I was thinking Aron would have loved this.
He wouldn't have let that one slide by.
No, it's not like only one time crystal. We need more time.
Oh my God, we need more.
I thought of Aron when they mentioned time crystals too. That's so funny.
And you know what Deanna Troi would have said about that? We don't have time to talk about time crystals. It's a First Contact. Let's keep it all in. It's all First Contact jokes today.
Keep it all.
There's no time. Anyway.
No time.
38 member worlds, down from 350 at its peak, like you mentioned, Cirroc. I thought that was really cool. Yeah. Those are the kind of things where we want to know more. We want to know which are the races that are still in it, the 38, which are the ones that left, which are the ones that added on in the last 700 years, you know?
Oh, yeah. Oh, and
yeah, they mentioned also about the Kelpian with Saru. There, you know, the way they were looking at him, like, you're the last Kelpian we've seen.
Kaminar joined the Federation. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Henry, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Oh no, there's like an Instagram account called Star Trek Log, and it's actually run by CBS. And every Monday they have a different crew member do his own log, and he narrates it. And so this week's on Monday was Linus, who he gave an update that seems to point in the direction of him and Georgiou actually having a relationship or the beginnings of one, because there's talk of romantic popcorn. So we'll have to like stay tuned for that.
Popcorn is romantic.
Yeah. And it's like a hilarious log in his voice, so you have to check that out if you haven't.
Shout out to David Benjamin Tomlinson, our good buddy, friend of the show. Sorry, Cirroc.
I wanted to ask you guys: am I missing the obvious here? They said that Georgiou is on the station to watch over somebody she cares about, or is
on the ship? You mean
on the ship? Yeah.
It's got to be Michael Burnham. Yeah,
it's Burnham, right? I mean, that's my guess, but I didn't know.
Pretty soon, Linus too, I hope.
Yeah, but maybe we'll find out it's not Burnham. She's like, I don't care about Burnham. It's all about Linus.
Yeah.
I really hope so.
It's all about the Saurians.
With a romantic popcorn in mind, I went back and like watched their scenes together, and there's definitely something going on.
One other Easter egg I saw in there, beside Easter egg Nog, is thank you. Was Kazon. I saw the word Kazon on one of the screens when they're arriving and looking through stuff.
I never thought to screenshot screens.
There was, they just said Kazon. I couldn't read what was below it, like if it said Kazon class ship or Kazon species, but I did for sure see the word Kazon. Yeah, it said Kazon. So maybe they did join the Federation. It's entirely possible because it's when they arrived at the Federation, I believe.
You sure did see Kazon cards for John Tuffarella?
Yeah. Shout out to John Tuffarella, Kazon Cards and Games out in New York.
Yeah.
Well, we did it. We broke the record for the most shout outs in one episode.
I also like Saru talking about the Dark Ages and the Renaissance and that whole little
that was beautiful
thing. I thought that was a nice little nugget in there, and just to show how we progressed, all of us together, from just even something small like the 3-point perspective.
Oh, another character we might be meeting is when they said the Orions and Andorians were invading the Draconic system, I think it was. They said Osira is becoming more brazen. So stay tuned to find out who Osira
is. That a Masks reference? But I don't think that's what it's called Osiris. But that first planet you mentioned, like Verna, wasn't that where like Romulans had a moon hidden in deep space? Like Romulans were on a moon, and it's like a Bajoran moon in Deep Space Nine. I don't know. I have to fact check it. If it doesn't ring any bells to you.
Doesn't to me.
But I remember that. I thought Verna was the name of that moon, but I guess.
Yes, it was the name of that moon, and I remember that episode. And
because she like says it so distinctly, and she says it so many times. I love that Romulan lady while she's eating jub sticks.
When did they mention Verna?
During I think it's season 7. Right?
No, I mean in this episode.
Oh, I thought you said Verna was the place where those people were catching prion disease.
I didn't say that. That might have been the case, but I certainly didn't know that.
And maybe I'm wrong.
But to quote Tilly, you guys, there's a flying rainforest.
Yes.
I don't know if that's an exact.
Yeah. Something like that. But
good delivery.
I like it.
Good delivery.
The flying rainforest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Anyway, we gotta go, guys.
Really quickly, it was Reese that was given the control of the bridge when everybody was gone.
Mm.
Got it. I think that's who I said. Was I right?
I thought you said Bryce.
You could say that.
Reese.
Oh. I heard Reese and Bryce.
This is a live chat. We'll see.
Both of them.
Yeah, we'll check it out. Boy, oh boy, this is it.
Reese versus Bryce.
You know what Reese's middle name is? Nah, that one's too easy.
Is Pieces. No. You were going to say that right.
Huh? No, is Pieces? No, that's better.
That is great.
I feel like I heard you say that one before.
Reese's
No, that's when never mind. That's a terrible joke.
Thanks for having me. So
thanks for joining us, Marie Segal, and thank you for joining us, Malissa Longo.
Thanks.
Great time.
A momentous day.
It's a good one.
Well, I guess that's about it. There's probably a few more things that we missed. Please let us know in the comments below what we missed or what you agree with, or if we said Reese or Bryce, because this is the real deal. This is important. Got to keep these things.
Why was Georgiou breaking the comm badge? Why did she break that?
She's chaotic.
Why does Georgiou do anything?
Anything she does.
She's chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so people will tell us in the comments below. They'll know the answer to that question, I'm sure. And we'll find out what the USS Tikov stood for. That's got to be something or someone. So thank you all for joining us. Stay tuned for the next one. Check us out. And I think that's about it, right? I think we did it.
Like, subscribe.
Yeah.
Go to Mo Space and help out Bill Erickson in the description box.
Don't make Bill and Yvette come after you if you don't like it.
Right. All right, great. And thank you all very much. And as always, for Aron, for you, the USS Nog and the Eisenberg class, always remember the 7th rule.